Hey guys, it's Mayhem here. Hope you're having a good weekend. So I don't know if you've heard anything about this Tomi Lahren debacle. It's not necessarily a debacle, but she made a video the other day and she's basically saying that men are trash and it's a rant against men. And I haven't listened to all of it. I listened to a condensed 4-minute version, kind of, and as I was listening to it, I thought that this would be a decent episode to talk about. So I moved it over. I switched it to my Brave browser because I was doing it on my Chrome and it kept giving me ads, so I didn't think you necessarily wanted to hear ads. And so basically what she's saying, it's an interesting perspective, and I'll kind of stop as there's some call outs for me to do, but she's, where I'm starting is that she's basically saying that she likes to do these Instagram stories, and she's doing this as a public service announcement. And the first thing that I'll say is that it's interesting when she talks, she's talking about women between the ages of 25 and 36. So she's talking about women at the peak of their sexual market value of 25, or you can go lower probably. But then women that are post-wall, because the wall usually hits them at 35. So the age range that she's looking at is an 11-year span, so the age 25 to 36. And so with that being said, we'll kind of go into this.
A helper, someone who could possibly inspire people to be better. So with that being said, this is a PSA for all the men out there and all the boys who think they're men, but they're actually boys. This is going to be the summer of canceling boys. Now, from my own personal experiences and the experiences of all of my friends, which range in age from 24 to 36, we've all got issues. Now, I will also say this. All of my friends are attractive. All of my friends are successful. All of my friends have something going on. Almost every single one of them have an issue with men. And you have to start looking at that and thinking, if an age range of that many people, including myself, living really all over the country and being blonde, brunette, short hair, long hair, tan, super white, super pale. These women range in every body type and everything. They're all successful, they're all intelligent, they're all good people. But if all of these women, including myself, are having issues, then I have to think, it might not be us. It might be you. It might be...
So the first thing that I'll say about this is like hangs around like. So for the most part, all of Tomi's friends are probably very similar to her. I would say she probably runs with conservatives, I think, is kind of her lean. Attractive. I think she's attractive. Some people have said that take the makeup off, she's not very good looking. You could say that with pretty much any woman, but like hangs out with like. And if her friends are having all the same problems, then there's a good possibility that they're all kind of wired the same way, so they're all seeing the same problems. The other thing is women like to tear each other down. So they might be friends, they might be supportive, they might be doing whatever they need to do to seem supportive, but women give horrible advice, especially when it comes to dating, and it depends on so many factors. Primarily, it matters on how old you are and how attractive you are, because if you're a 25-year-old 7 versus a 36-year-old 8, that 25-year-old is going to have guys lined up the door. The 35-year-old woman is not, and that's the harsh reality of the wall. That's the harsh reality of the sexual marketplace. And as if you are on the MGTOW in the Reddit world, you'll see that so many women are now finally seeing that their horrible choices are catching up to them. And I saw a meme the other day that this lady was complaining in her 40s about men don't pay attention to her, and a guy responded that, yeah, that's how men are during their 20s. We're invisible to you then, you're invisible to us now. That's the dynamics. And, the fact that Tomi's coming off on this saying that, the problem is men, possibly, but the other possibility is that they're all going after the same types of guys. They're all going after the Chads and Tyrones. They're going after the 9s and 10s who have these standards where they're just going to run through you. They're not going to commit. They just know that they're texts are always going to be blowing up because women want them. So they're not going to commit. And if you really want this long-term stable relationship, then go for your number. And if you're a 6, go for 6s. And realize that your choice is videos like this complaining about how boys, quote unquote, are, when really you're the problem. And yeah, enough with that. Moving on.
Men. It might be men. Now, I've often talked about the pussification of America and how men are no longer men. I talk to my mom about this a lot, and she says, well, maybe it's just the guys in Texas. Maybe it's just the guys in Los Angeles. Maybe it's just the guys. It is not just the guys in Los Angeles, Nashville, Dallas, and they're not any better in the Midwest. Quite frankly, I think they're trash all over this country in the age range of about 20 to I think about 55, maybe even 60. A lot of men are trash. A lot of men don't know how to treat women. A lot of men don't know how to really, quite frankly, pull their heads out of the sand and pay attention.
So, the city she calls out, Los Angeles, that's the most superficial place in the world, so yeah. Houston, old money, oil money, so those guys have tons of choices, so they are going to go for the lower age range, and they're going to go for the sugar babies because they've got the money. Nashville, never been there, so if you're from there, I'm sorry if this is purely out of context, but based on what I know of it, I would say it's similar, where there's just a lot of the older guys either don't want to settle down, they just want to hook up, and they just want to go for younger. So, yeah, totally understand she might be frustrated with that, but women have trained men to do this because, as you know, in the MGTOW world and the Red Pill world, women are so fickle when it comes to long-term commitment that they're pushing aside guys that they really should be staying with because they would rather go out and test the waters because, their needs, their emotions, whatever aren't being met. So they're bringing this upon themselves. And the end result is thousands and thousands and thousands of men that don't want to commit, because why should we? We could run the buffet every week and have a new woman that isn't going to grape us, that isn't going to take our money, that isn't going to sit around and bitch and complain. The ideal for a woman is this ultra-romantic rom-com movie, and from a man's perspective, that's a crap load of work to have a job, to come home, and then to expect to have all this stuff ready so that you can continually wow a woman. When was the last time a woman has wowed her man outside of sex? And it's just this double standard that women they have no clue. And Tomi, once again, is one of them because, her expectations are set in such a way that she's never going to find the guy that is going to put up with her crap. Moving on.
And so I am going to help you. And these are some of the things that I've experienced, and these are some of the things my friends have experienced. I'm just going to lay a few things out. They haven't all happened to me. Some of them have just happened to my friends. A lot of them have happened to me. So the first thing, and I've made notes, by the way. I've made notes. This is how invested I am in this because I've been thinking about this for about 2 weeks solid now. First question for men. If you like a girl, if you're even somewhat interested in a girl, you need to ask yourself this question. Are you single? No, I don't mean are you kind of single, seeing 5 people, dating somebody, still kind of in a relationship, kind of broken up, kind of on again, off again, kind of married, kind of divorced. Are you actually single? That means single. You have nobody. You have no complications. You have no attachments. You are actually single.
To me, this is funny because every woman in the world has got multiple guys blowing up her DMs. And if you expect men to be honest about their status as far as dating or not dating, then if you truly want a man to commit to you, then the first thing you should do is also be single and not playing the field. And this is something that, my favorite website, Female Dating Strategy, always pulls up, is that you should have, multiple men that you're testing constantly to see which one you want to stick with. And I'm a plate spinner. I've said that before. I'm a plate spinner. I've got 2 that I'm working right now. Probably once Corona's gone, I'll have more. But I've not really focused on it anyway. But I'm sure as I listen to this, it's going to be the hypocrisy of the double standard, where she's going to be calling out stuff that women do all the time and expect men to not do it. And it's do as I say, not as I do. And I'm afraid that that's where this is going to go, but let's see what else she has to say.
That is the first question, believe it or not, that needs to be asked. And ladies, you should be asking it, because in 2020, it's not a given anymore that a guy that's actively pursuing you is actually single. So that's the first thing. The second thing that I think is very important, that men don't seem to understand. There are very few women out there, and I'm speaking from personal experience as well as from all of my friends and all the women, quite frankly, that I talk to. There is not a woman out there that wants to be your pen pal. She doesn't want to get your texts, your good morning texts, your good night texts, your random through the day texts, if they don't follow up with a plan to actually, here's the kicker, in person, hang out. Now, I know what you're saying, oh, it's COVID, people can't hang out in person. This has not been a 4-month problem. This has been a 5-year problem that I've experienced with men, and my friends have experienced with men. Women do not want a pen pal. We don't want a texting pal. We quite frankly don't care if you text us all day or if you don't text us at all. If you're not going to make a plan to actually see us in person, not interested.
I kind of agree with her on this. I am not a big texter when it comes to whatever. I would rather text once in the beginning, set up the plan, and move forward. But I'm old school, and to me, my goal always is seal the deal. So first date, make out. Second date, make out, grope. Third date, make out, grope, and sex. And that's always been my kind of mode with things. I'm always, ABC, always be closing. I'm always trying to get to the end goal. A lot of the times I'm getting laid on my first dates. A lot of times I'm getting laid on my second dates. But if I'm not getting the vibe that she wants some nudity in the future, then I'm not even going to waste time with her, and I'll tell her that. So I agree with her on this, that, don't have... more guys ruin the chances of getting laid by texting the wrong things or too much than being dark and mysterious and texting very rarely and just setting up the date and moving on. So I agree with her on this.
And if you do have a woman out there that just wants to be your pen pal, it's probably because she has a boyfriend or a husband or a wife or whatever.
Which goes back to the first point. You shouldn't be talking to other men and giving your number out if you're in a relationship. And it's this one of the things that just drives me batty, insane, angry about women and their double standards. I mean, anyway.
We don't want a pen pal. But that also leads me to my second point. And this is going to be backwards for you guys. Make plans. Make a plan. Do not assume that you can text somebody randomly in the middle of the day, what are you doing? Or text them at midnight or 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. or even just within hours of when you actually want to see them and think that they're going to be available. I personally, once I get home and I take my makeup off and I'm watching TV, I'm no longer interested. So if you didn't make a plan earlier in the day, or better yet, a day or 2 or 3 in advance, I'm not interested. I don't want to hang out anymore because that ship has sailed. Make a plan. I want to hang out with you at this time. It doesn't have to even be a date. I want to see you at this time. Are you free at this time? Or when are you free? I will accommodate my schedule to see you. When are you free? I want to see you. I know it's not rocket science, but men of 2020, it seems like it's pretty difficult for you to figure out. And I'm not a feminist, so please don't take this as a feminist rant. I love men. I think men are great. I think men have failed themselves, and they've failed us. And I'm just trying to help you out, because I think there are a lot of really great guys out there who need a little help. And I don't think that there are a lot of women that are stepping up and saying these things and not FaceTime yet.
Yeah. And her video's skipping, so it's not on my end. Two points on this one. Firstly, I think a lot of her friends, because she's, air quotes, this is about her and her friends. I think a lot of her friends are probably hooking up on the first date, and so men are doing it for a hookup kind of thing. So that's why, the texting last minute, texting late at night. I mean, Second thing, like I said, women have trained men to do this. And, she can complain and complain and complain about the end result. But in the data analytics world, which I play in a lot, bad data in, bad data out. When you train a man how you want to be treated. And for the past 5-10 years, women have been all about the hookup culture, all about the Netflix and chill, all about the spontaneity. They want to do things last minute. This is what women have been saying, especially the millennial women, that it's all about the experience and, oh, geez, I want to do this, and then, oh, I'm going to go do that. And this is the repercussions. I mean, this is the end result of that sort of lifestyle. And I understand what Tommy's saying, that she's not like that, but the majority of women are, that are, in the prime dating area, 21 to 35. And so guys pick up on what works, and guys pick up on what women want. And as I said, you train the behavior that you want. And guys have been trained to do this because it works. And you can't complain. If you're going to complain, then you better change the data and you better change the inputs.
I swear to God. Quite frankly, I don't think that there are a lot of women that aren't raging feminists that don't look like Lena Dunham. They're saying these things to you. So I'm going to go ahead and say them because they need to be said. I am really so sick of my friends having to deal with trash men. I am tired of dealing with trash men, so I'm going to help you out. Make plans. So let's go through these lists.
Once again, trash men, that's who they're attracted to. And this goes back to the Chad and Tyrones, the alpha male, which I hate using that term. These are the guys that they're going after. These are guys that are probably out of their reach. But as I've said before, if a woman is skinny, she's automatically a 6 in this day and age. Like I said in yesterday's podcast, I mean, there's so many fat women. It's so rare to see a slender woman that it's nuts. And so, yeah, these women are going after guys that are probably 2 or 3 points higher than what they are, and they shouldn't be. And these guys are smashing it because that's what guys do. But this goes back to women are creating this problem because they're not being honest with their number, their looks, and who they should be pursuing. And when a guy asks them out, they're overlooking them because they think they can do better when really they probably can't.
Again, because I know y'all love a list. Number 1, are you single? Number 2, make a plan. Nobody wants a pen pal. We want to actually see you. If not, don't text us because it's a waste of our time and we don't want to see it on our phones. Got it? All right. Next thing. Value. Okay? Value. Take that in. Just repeat it to yourself until it makes sense. Okay. If you want to date a girl that has nothing going on, then that's fine. But please do not mix in people like me and my friends who have something going on with your other girls that have nothing going on. And by nothing going on, I mean this. There is no job that is unimportant. There is no job that's not valuable or that's not worthy. It is. But if you want to mix in people like me and people like my friends who are go-getters, who work really hard, who make their own money, who are talented, skilled, ambitious, please don't mix us in with the Tatianas. We don't want to be there. If that's what you want, find them. Please, for the love of God, do not mix us in with them because we don't want to be there. And quite frankly, we take it as an insult if we find out that you are also talking to 5 Tatianas who have nothing going on. People like me and my friends are going to be insulted by that. And there's almost really no coming back from it. So if you want that kind of a girl, the kind of girl who's just kind of happy going through the motions of life, not really super ambitious, hasn't really found herself yet, doesn't really have a whole lot going on other than she's pretty, please just go after them. And please do not mix us in. We don't.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with that too, but it goes back to the other point where men are going to go after those types of women because that's what we're kind of biologically designed to go after. And she can't be pissed that it's happening. So if every Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio is going after the Thottians, then these women need to realize that they got to lower their perceived standard on looks or job or whatever. Because, as I said, and I'm probably going to say this a lot during this podcast, is guys are going to go after the hot young chicks, especially if the guys are 9 or 10s or rich. That's what they're going to do. So they can, Tommy and her friends can complain about how unfair it is, but there's a point in your life where you have to look at the reality of the situation and say, this is what's going on. I need to adjust my course, because if I don't, then I'm going to constantly be disappointed with what happens when I date these guys. And the other thing is, if these women are going to get so upset about guys talking to Tatianas, it goes back to my other point. Then these flipping women need to be just as honest and just as transparent. And when you've got a guy that you like, you need to stop playing the field and devote your time and energy to see where it goes instead of always looking to monkey branch. And yeah.
I want to be there. I promise you. So value. There's a lot of women out there that I know that are my good friends who have amazing jobs, who work really hard, but who can't seem to find a decent guy, even if they go up in age 5 to 10 to 15 years, because those guys all want to be with 21-year-olds who have nothing going on. It's very unfortunate.
To me, this is an example of what is important to the sexes and how different they are. And if she would take a step back and look at it, she is pushing her female agenda on. She wants men to think like her. And that's what she's saying, is that this is what is important to me. A good job, good stability, a career, ambition, X, Y, and Z. And she expects her worldview to be the worldview. And men, we don't care about that stuff. We make the money, we have the hobbies, we do what we want to do. What we want is a hot chick, good body, that likes to have sex. So this is just a misalignment of values and her not being realistic about what men want versus what women want. And this is, like I said, once again, this is the female desire on, this guy has all of the things that I need to make sure that when we have kids, everything's going to be great. And, just totally disconnected with the reality of the difference between sexes.
I don't think it's going to be fulfilling, but I would say to the men out there, try to maybe find a woman that you can talk to, communicate with, might actually have her shit together, might actually be ambitious and have something going on or want to have something going on. I don't care what she does. She doesn't have to be on TV. She doesn't have to be a PhD. She doesn't have to be a television producer. She doesn't have to own her own company, but be ambitious and have something going on.
Right. And women would not date a guy who had nothing going on but had all those attributes. So if you're relatively attractive, you sweep a floor, not saying that's a bad job, I'm saying just as an example, you sweep a floor, but you're super ambitious, women aren't going to go for that. You're not going to get Tomi to go out on a date with you if, you're super ambitious. She wants you to, she's basically making the point, as I said, that it's not fair to her that all these high-value men are going after these women that have got nothing going on upstairs because she feels that she does have this and she's not getting the guys. Well, when a 21, 22-year-old compared to you, Tomi, you're going to lose every time because guys don't care about that stuff. Like I said, we don't care about the things that are important to you. So, yeah, I won't repeat myself.
Those women out there are going to be a lot more fulfilling to you. You're actually going to enjoy your time. And if you actually might want a sustainable and healthy and stable relationship, that's probably the kind of girl you're going to need to find. Not the Tatianas who just want to look cute and post Instagram stories. Now, I love a good Instagram story. Y'all know I do. I love a good boomerang. I love a good whatever. But if that's all you do, men, if that's all she does, probably Houston, we have a problem. I'm just going to let you in on a little tip. The next thing on my list is this: consistency. It really does not help me or my friends or any woman in general if you are really cool and you're really interested when you first start talking to them and then give it 3, 4, 5 days and all of a sudden you're not consistent anymore. You don't make plans. You don't really care. You kind of fade in and out. You're talking to 5 other Tatianas. Consistency is important. Now, if you want to be inconsistent and you want to ghost and you want to fall off the radar, that's fine, but I'm going to give you a pro tip. People like me and people like my friends, we aren't going to really give a shit after that. We don't really care. The F's have been given and we're kind of done. I'll tell you this from personal experience. Once I'm turned off, I am turned off. And I don't care anymore. Because at one point, I probably did care. At one point, my friends, they probably did care. They probably did like you because you expressed interest and maybe you were cool and maybe you were kind of fun to hang out with. But if you're not consistent and you fall off the radar, I give you maybe 1 to 2 chances to fix that because I'm a very direct communicator. Women, this is important. I will communicate to you. If your communication isn't great, I will let you know that. I will let you know that more effort is needed. But if you don't heed that warning and I have to warn you twice, I'm done at that point because I don't really care anymore. Now I'm done.
I kind of agree with her, but I think that this is a failing on men, and you guys can crucify me for this. I think that if you're not interested or if you got what you want from the girl, keeping her in play, unless, it's worth it, constantly coming back to the same fishing hole if you didn't get what you want, I mean, I don't know. It's a tough one because I can see where she's coming from, but then from the other side, it's also another double standard because women are the most inconsistent creatures in the world when it comes to everything. But I guess my point is, it's a man's job to know the course. And it goes back to what I said earlier where I have my plan, I know what I'm trying to accomplish on each date, and I know kind of where I'm going. If I don't like where it's going, and she ignores me, she blows me off, I text her and she doesn't respond, I will send her I don't think this is working out, this isn't really something that I'm looking for, I'm looking for somebody that's got a little bit more whatever going on. Great getting to know you, see you later. And see how she responds to that. But yeah, I think a lot of this stuff, it's not worth a guy's time to fish for somebody that you might want to hook up with once or twice. It's better to go after something else. So I kind of agree with what she's saying here. I don't know how you guys feel about that one.
Now I don't care. And I know my friends who are watching this are thinking and saying the same thing because we have these conversations on an almost daily basis. Once you turn us off, we don't care anymore. So let that be a warning to you. You're probably not going to circle back. They always come back. They always come back. But when you're ready to come back, I probably don't care anymore. So if you want to switch up, stay there.
Yeah, I don't.
Pro tip.
I don't come back.
My last thing on my list is also very important. Don't be, excuse my language, don't be a bitch. Don't be a bitch. Don't be a bitch. If you have been failed and you lost a woman of value like myself or my friends, and then we don't really care anymore, don't be a bitch. Don't be butthurt. You did it to yourself. Okay? And it's no longer my problem. Now it's become a personal problem of yours. So don't be a bitch. And by the way, if I'm no longer interested because your effort is shitty, that's not me being a bitch. That's not me being difficult. That's me having a standard in which I expect from people. I do have high standards and high expectations. My friends have high standards and high expectations. Do you want to know why? We've worked for those. Okay? We work hard. We're successful. We take care of ourselves. We try to look cute. We have a desire to be something more each day. Okay? That's why we have the ability to be somewhat what you call difficult. It's not difficult. We just have a baseline standard. And if you can't meet that standard, that's okay. A lot of men cannot. But if you are one of those men out there, and I have them all over my DMs, sometimes I check them, and you guys are like, what would it take to be with someone like you? What would it take to be with your friends? What are girls like you? What are they looking for? I laid them out for you very simply there. In order to have a shot with a girl like me or girls like my friends, girls that are worth a damn, you don't really have to be Brad Pitt. You don't have to be famous. You don't even really have to make a lot of money or have a really fantastic job. You just have to be determined. You have to be in some way successful in that you want to attain some certain kind of success for yourself. You're driven. You have goals. You can handle a woman with standards. That's not going to turn you off. And you're going to put in the effort to be with somebody like myself or my friends. We deserve that. And we will not compromise our standards. I tell you this, it will be a cold day in hell when I chase a man. And I know that's the same thing for my friends as well. And if my friends are listening and they're thinking about chasing a man, Please, for the love of God, do not. Because there is not one single man on planet Earth, okay, that is worth making any woman feel like she is not good enough. I don't care how hot a girl is, how smart, how successful, how rich. We have all dealt with men who treat us like we are not good enough. No, the problem is we are too enough and you can't handle it. So those are my checklists. Again, I will go through them for you one more time in case you are just...
So I agree with what she said, but to me, it's the frame, and men control the frame. And all of these things that she's asking for, I mean, she is telling you exactly what if you want to get her, this is what you have to do. And I don't agree with her that, looks don't matter, that money doesn't matter, that job doesn't matter. I don't agree with any of that stuff. She might go out with you one or two times, and then she'll find, you had a nose hair or your eye was late, whatever random excuse you can think of. But this is what all women want. And this is what I've said about incels before. It's not that hard to get laid. It's really not. It's hold your frame, know what you want, and execute. And the problem that men have in relationships, and this is the problem that I had before I went red pill in MGTOW, that we logically assume that if we do what a woman tells us to do, then that'll make her happy, that'll get us laid, and everything will be great. And the honesty is, women constantly test you to see if you're worth having sex with. Years into a relationship, they'll continue to test you, and they're always testing you. And that's how they are. It's their nature. You can be mad about it. You can say it's not fair. You can howl at the moon for all I care. But that's how it is. And understand that. And if you hold your frame and if you treat her like she wants to be treated, you'll be fine. And basically it goes back to, you are the leader. You lead a woman where you want to go. You make the plans, you do the stuff, you have your standards, and you hold them accountable. And anytime they step out of line, you tell them it's unacceptable, you maintain the frame, and you continue on. You don't get dragged down to their drama, you don't get dragged down to their emotion. But really, I mean, this is her being frustrated because the men that she's being attracted to probably aren't necessarily super committed to her. Who knows? I don't know her dating life well enough. But like I said, she's telling you exactly what it takes to get her. Men just get too wrapped up in what women say that they want, because women don't know what they want. And if they do know what they want, 2 seconds later it'll change. And when it comes to this stuff, and I don't know if I've said this before on a podcast, women say shit all the time that they don't mean. And I've been out with girls and they've told me they think we're going too fast, we should probably slow down, take a little time. And I will call them the next day and say, let's go out to dinner. Well, I used to. I don't do that anymore. I disregard everything that they say, because to me it's an emotional response to the flippin' moon being in waning gibbous on the end of the month. So I don't care what they say. If I'm attracted and if I want what I want, then I go for what I want and just push my agenda. And if they stop responding to me, I'll give them one strike. And if they strike, then I'm gone. And there's no looking back for me, because the amount of available women that are interested in somebody that has a strong frame, that knows what he wants, is more important than me wasting my time with any of this stuff. So it's nice that she's being honest. I don't think she's being realistic about a lot of it, but I do believe she probably does sit around and talk to her friends about this quite frequently. And they are to the point where they just want a man to be a man. They don't want somebody that knows what a loofah is or a duvet. I mean, like Tyler Durden says in Fight Club, they want a man. They want some guy who's got his crap together, that knows what he wants to do, and, they're, for lack of a better word, arm candy. So, I don't know. I haven't looked at some of the other... I should probably see what some of the other MGTOW guys said about this, or Red Pill guys said about this. That's pretty much it. If you want to check out the video, it's not hard to find. I don't think that it's a horrible thing what she said. I don't think that, I was expecting it to be a lot worse. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about it. You can shoot me an email at mrmigtow@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.